Hi, bitch besties. It's your main bitch, Melly. Thank you so much for tuning in, and welcome to another episode of the Judgy Bitch Pod.
Hi, bitch besties. Welcome to a new episode. I'm so excited for today. Today, I have Brittany on from the Cod podcast. Brittany not only has the coolest hair color right now, I'm also super excited to talk to a fellow podcaster today. Welcome, Brittany.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have you on.
I'm excited. I'm happy ever since we started talking that we were
Exactly.
going to
How
do
did we
this.
meet? Why don't you tell the bitch besties?
We were on a forum for podcasters, and you were talking about how a couple people had agreed to be a guest on your show and then ghosted you. And I was just like, well, that sucks. I know that I kind of noticed that you have a smaller podcast. And I was like, well, everybody should get like a good chance. So I just sent you an email and I was just, hey, if you need somebody to come and be a guest, I'll do it for you.
I love that so much. That was so sweet. No, you really did do that.
And that's where we started.
Yeah. And you're right. My podcast is still small. I'm trying to grow it. So please share with all your audience, and please, Brittany's audience, come and listen to me as well.
Absolutely.
Tell me about the Cod podcast. When did you start? What is it? Where can people find you? Tell me everything.
Okay, so I guess your friends are your besties. Hi, besties. So when Killers Get Caught is my podcast, and it starts pretty much where most shows end. You guys pretty much already know the headline, you know the tragedy, whatever happened. You usually definitely know the killer's name. But what I'm kind of obsessed with is what happens after. How did they
Mhm.
screw up? What mistakes did they made? Why did they get caught? What did investigators miss? How long did this take? Things like that are something I'm really into. And so it's just a deep dive podcast into whatever I happen to be interested in at the time. But I definitely am always on the quest to do away with the myth of the criminal mastermind and pretty much show everybody how these idiots got caught.
I love that so much. How did you get into true crime? Have you always been a fan?
For a long time. I love to tell this story.
Yeah.
So when I was about 12, near my parents' house was a little shopping center. And so like when my mom would go and do little errands or my dad would go pick up like Chinese food, I'd ask, can I go in the library? There was this tiny little library. It was super dusty. And there was no true crime section in the library in 1998 or like 2000. So it was in the occult section, and at the time, I was into ghosts and werewolves and vampires. I was just a little creepy kid,
Love it. I love it.
and I was in the section, and I picked up the book Helter Skelter, which is about the Manson family murders, and
Mhm.
that was the first thing I ever read. And my parents are the kind of people who are like, every book is a children's book if the kid can read. So they didn't ever stop me from reading weird things. So that's kind of when I first got into it. And both my parents are attorneys too. So if I had questions, I could ask them.
I love that your parents are attorneys. So you pretty much get information from the source, from like firsthand.
I mean, they definitely talked about stuff when I was little.
Yeah.
And they loved, what was that 24-hour show where they
Yeah.
would show how, like, the cops talk to the this is how I learned that you just don't talk to cops. There's an entire TV show about how a crime happens, and the cops pretty much talk the guy into admitting it within 24 hours.
Yeah.
You really are not supposed to talk to cops, like, ever.
Ever. Yeah. I agree. I'm currently binge watching 2020 on Hulu. They have like 5 million episodes on Hulu right now. And one of
Mhm.
the episodes I watched yesterday was exactly that, that the cops talked a young kid, I think he was 17 or something, into confessing to a murder that he didn't commit. And that doesn't just happen once or twice.
Oh
That
my
happens like
gosh.
daily.
A lot. Because they go, "Oh, well, if you go to trial, you'll get 20 years. If you go to trial, you might get life in prison for murder. You should just accept it and then you get a smaller sentence." But if you don't get that in writing, like
Yeah.
what that smaller sentence is going to be, they've tricked people into admitting they did something and then they still get the maximum penalty.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's insane. But I guess they have like the method and the tactics they use on people where they break you down to a point where you don't know your own name anymore. And then they build you up with the beliefs that they believe happened and that didn't happen, and they put it so in your head that you start actually believing, okay, yeah, I did that, and you weren't even there. It's crazy.
We do a lot of bad stuff in this country.
We do. How did you get fascinated with the fact after, like the card part of it, and not what a lot of people are fascinated with, the part before that?
So if any of my listeners are listening to this podcast, you all know that I hate Ted Bundy. And specifically, I hate how true crime turns people like him into legends. It
Yeah.
just gets under my skin when people talk about how clever these killers were. These people weren't brilliant. They were sloppy. A lot of them were arrogant and honestly lucky enough that they got to operate before we had CCTV footage everywhere or
Yeah.
forensics.
Yeah.
So when I focus on caught killers, I focus on accountability. I like the stories with an ending where we expose the monster for who they really are.
Yeah.
And I get there's a whole nother section of true crime that's interested in missing people and trying to figure it out, but that's frustrating for me.
Yeah. Do you believe, especially with the Ted Bundy case, but there's other cases, do you believe that after people like Ted Bundy were caught, that people change how they connect with the actual story, the actual crime? Do you believe?
Well,
Because Ted Bundy was so good looking, right? All of a sudden, and the smart guy, he was about to be an attorney himself, and all of a sudden, people speak highly of him instead of
oh
saying that he was
yeah.
the scum of this earth, right? Like,
It's crazy. He's one of the few that could actually really keep it hidden. A lot of the killers are like, "Oh, he was just a normal guy." But I was thinking about the case that's currently going in New York, the Gilgo Beach.
yeah,
And they were like, well, a normal middle American dad, except everybody in the neighborhood who they interview about that guy is like, yo, he's kind of scary. We all avoid him. And I'm like, so it's not like he was an everyday guy. He
right.
actually was kind of a nightmare. And
Yeah,
people maybe like sometimes I wonder if we're like looking at the past and romanticizing it.
yeah,
And then you have cases like Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
yeah.
So when they caught him, he was filthy, disgusting. There was a librarian who spoke to the Netflix documentary people and said he smelled like a goat. Like he walked into the library and he made the place smell like a barnyard. So that's how he was when they caught him. But when he made it to trial, they fixed his teeth, he grew his hair out, they put him in nice clothes, and all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, he's so beautiful." And I'm like, "Not when he was doing these crimes, he wasn't
Yeah,
beautiful. He was nasty." I was like, "You would not want that man crawling through your window in the middle of the night."
yeah,
So also we get to see them once they've been in prison and they've gotten some health
yeah,
care for a little while. Sometimes you have that situation, but Bundy was one of the few, I think, the true psychopath really
yeah.
was completely sectioned off, except in the fact that he kept killing people who looked like his girlfriend.
He had a type.
Right. And he could not break away from that. He couldn't separate that from anybody else.
Yeah. How do you feel about names of serial killers or killers, anyways, becoming famous? Like,
I'm not a fan of them becoming famous. And I'm pretty happy with a bunch of states have filed legislation that says if you get arrested for a certain crime, you can't make any money off of it. And I think
yeah,
we should do it everywhere. It should be across the board. You shouldn't be able to monetize this.
yeah, I agree, 100%. They should not be able to monetize on that. It's a question whether or not we can use the names, right? It's a different story for me, but they should not be able to make a penny out of it.
Well, some European countries don't really ever release the name. Sometimes I get criticism because people are like, well, how come on TikTok you only talk about Americans?
Yeah.
And I'm
Oh,
like, well,
interesting.
America gives a lot of the details. There are some, I must say, like Northern European countries
Yeah.
that when I look at a story, it very much does not say the name of the victim or the criminal.
Yeah.
So there are some countries have some serious privacy laws. And
Yeah.
so,
Germany is one
and
of them. And I did an episode with my crime partner page. We have a section called on the page of crime. And one of the first episodes we did in that section was talking about the true crime that I suffered when I was a teenager. My mom was stabbed in front of me by a serial killer, pretty much. He was caught and
that's
everything.
terrible.
But because that happened in Germany and that happened also in the 90s, it might be different nowadays, but I don't think it's much different, to be honest. There's such strong security laws in regards of data. So they're not really allowed to give out any data, any names, any information. So as a victim from that serial killer back in the 90s, I don't even know if he's still in prison. I would have
Oh
to
my
like
goodness.
file a petition or whatever, go through like a special victims unit, whatever, to find out
Yeah.
whether or not he's still in prison. Like they wouldn't even inform us.
Wow. And that's the thing, like, that's one thing you get to know in the States.
Yeah.
They send you a letter and it says, "Hey, this person who was convicted of doing this has been released. They don't know where you live, but we're just letting you know they're out there."
Yeah. It's crazy. But also all the information you find on the internet. I was researching my personal case. It was from the mid 90s. It's a long time ago. I could barely find anything on the internet. There was not much information to be found. Crazy.
Yeah, I feel like if it's not like a big serial killer case, you don't get a lot of the smaller ones. Even I did a podcast maybe like 2021 or so, or maybe 2022, and it was about a serial killer from South Korea. And he might be the most prolific in their country, and it was still difficult to find information for him. I was having to translate articles. There was
Mhm.
like I think my like source list is just like 50 news articles because there's no books, there were no TV shows about this guy. I think eventually Netflix did a documentary on him like a year or two ago, but for the most part, they're not as fixated on true crime as we are over here.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you find your cases?
I'm just sometimes I'm just looking through. I have like certain apps and things, websites. Sometimes it's just something interesting. Recently, I was looking at my analytics and I realized that as I have aged, so have my listeners, and we're
Yeah.
all like millennial ladies.
Love it.
And so I was like, you know what? What if I do a bunch of cases about things that happened when we were kids?
Yeah.
And so that's what I decided to do for the month, or like right now it's Pride. So I wanted to, it's easy enough to find a court case where someone queer has been harmed.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about a case where someone queer was kind of the hero.
Hmm.
And so I have two I'm gonna do those for the last 2 weeks of June. And then I'm probably gonna go back to um it's just whatever I'm interested in. I have websites I go to, like little aggregate sites that I just kind of click through and if I see something interesting, or sometimes there'll be an update on something that happened a really long time ago. And so then I want to cover the entire case along with the new stuff.
Of course. Yeah, that makes sense. How long have you had your podcast?
Since 2021, January of 2021.
Wow. It's what now? Over 5 years, 5.5 years almost.
Technically by the amount, but I was kinda gone for 2 years, so
Mhm.
for well, let me 1 year and a half, maybe?
All right, shit
So,
happens.
yeah, it is. It's
Yeah. But honestly, still, you are so successful with your podcast. You have so many followers. I have the chance to talk to you right now. I'm still in like my beginning stages,
Oh,
learning as
yeah.
I go. Share all your knowledge with me. How did you grow your TikTok following?
Okay, so I have to be very, very honest,
All right, I'm
which
ready.
is that I did get some good luck.
Okay.
The first podcast the first video that I put up on TikTok was about Rodney Alcala, and so I don't know if this is an ADHD thing or what, but I just sort of see a thing and I throw myself into it. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'm gonna do a podcast. And then I was dating a person and this person, I was like, do you want to be in the podcast with me? And they were like, okay. And so I did the whole thing. I just was like, and I just went, if I make a TikTok, maybe I can make other true crime content. The first video I posted got over 100,000 views and I went from like 9
Yeah.
followers to 40,000. And so my dad says, here's what he said, he doesn't believe in luck. He says luck is when opportunity meets preparation. And
Yeah.
so I have a certain level of skill naturally. Like I've been writing my entire life. My dad was the poet laureate of our town growing up. So writing is very, but still, what I learned is that you don't want to go viral when you don't have anything else
Mm,
because you're going to lose people. So
yeah.
you need to have that backlog
Yeah.
because like when people come to a podcast, they scroll through and they click on the one that's the shortest
Interesting.
because they want to listen to you, but they're a little not sure about the investment. That's kind of
Yeah.
why I've been posting shorter podcasts this year. Like anywhere, but I think my first one this year was only 15 minutes because I was still getting back in the game. But they're really around 30 to 45 minutes. I used to do 3-hour deep dives, which I just cannot do right now. So,
3 hours. That's a long time.
yeah, I was writing like 25-page research papers weekly.
Oh my God.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
You
Another thing
should
that
be
I did.
studied and you should get a title for that.
Well, another thing that I did that not everybody's willing to do is I didn't have any backlog. And all of a sudden, all these people were posting comments to me on TikTok. And I'm like, I don't know anything about TikTok. All I did during 2020 was just scroll.
Yeah.
So at the time, you could only make minute videos. And so this is how my day would go. And this is what I did for first 4 months from
Yeah.
January into April. I would wake up at like 6 or 7. I would write, edit, and record. So I would record 4 videos, which I then put up at 8, 12, 4, and 8. And I did
Wow.
this every day for the first 4 months that I had the TikTok page. And so that was to fill it, but that is not something
Yeah.
you can really do.
It's commitment.
I crashed hard. It's just not something you can do really consistently. So you have to find something that you can also do consistently because the algorithm demands more content. If you want to
Yeah.
give it 20 videos a day, it'll take it and they'll push it out to your fans, but you're going to kill yourself in the process. So those
Yeah.
are things I did in the beginning. I probably wouldn't do that now.
Yeah.
It's a different world.
It
Yeah, I
is.
had I
I was just
live.
going to ask you, do you believe that time also worked in your favor? Because, 2021 was still pretty much COVID time. People had times on their hand. People spent their days on TikTok. I feel nowadays, with the economy we have right now, everybody is grinding and busy and tired and exhausted. Plus,
Yep.
the market of podcasts is oversaturated, I feel like.
It was oversaturated 6 years ago in 2020, 2021.
Oh, already.
It's
Yeah.
only gotten worse. I remember reading something that said that from Spotify that said they have millions of podcasts where people make one podcast and they never come back.
Interesting.
There's so many of those because I was like, how in the world am I in the top 10% on Spotify?
You are?
I only get. I
Congratulations.
was in like the height of like 2022 before everything went.
Amazing.
I was in like the top 10% of all podcasts, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But I didn't realize that having a couple thousand just dedicated people way more significant than having like a million people listen to one podcast and never come back.
That's amazing. Girl, you're going to get back up there in the top 10 and you take me with you.
I'm all about helping people out. I think it's good,
Me too. I'm a girl's girl. I'm all for I had a lot of interesting women on my podcast that I met somewhere in the course of my life, and I felt my bitch besties need to get to know you. You have to come on my podcast, and I want to highlight you. That's the kind of person I am. I like building a community. That's why I call them bitch besties because we're all friends.
I wanted to I like whenever because we're in some of the same like with the same like Facebook group. That's how we met each other. And I like people are like, "Oh, I want to be a podcast guest." And I'm like, "Do you want to talk about true crime because that's all I do. I'll talk about true crime and I'll talk about cryptids.
Yeah,
That's it. I'm a one-trick pony. I am not like the Judgy Bitch podcast.
yeah,
You guys talk about everything. I talk about one thing.
yeah.
So it feels like it's hard for me to sometimes like get those people. I want to bring other people on. I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
Mm,
But I think in terms of TikTok algorithm, that actually works in your favor. Because for me, my algorithm has to learn every week new, what's this bitch up now, like one week
Yeah,
it's
you're right.
endometriosis and next week it's true crime. Like the TikTok algorithm is confused by me, whereas yours knows when Brittany comes on, this bitch is going to talk crime no matter what. So they're going to push out your content to whoever is interested in crime. With my algorithm, every week TikTok is confused and doesn't
It's
know what to do.
different. I
Yeah,
didn't think about that. Yeah, that is rough because
yeah,
a lot of the algorithms on all of these platforms, they definitely unless you have like a really, really big following, they kind of put you in a little niche.
Yeah, they do. 100%. That's what all the creators say. Find your niche, right? Find your niche. Well, bitch, I'm not a one niche girl.
It's what it is, man.
Yeah.
It'll work out. It'll work out.
Thank you. Was it your goal to create a community or just an audience to share your content with?
Oh, it's all community. I think when I started, I just was putting stuff out there and I didn't really
Mhm.
realize what it would become. But your audience watches or listen, but your community participates. And in my case, the community brought me back. So 2023, my former podcast partner and I part ways because the industry was kind of focusing more on my in-camera stuff instead of the podcast stuff. And they didn't want to be in front of the camera. So that
Mm.
kind of was where we sort of parted ways. I started doing documentaries. You were talking about how you're watching 2020. If you keep watching back through 2020, eventually you will see me in one of their episodes.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
I'm going to be on the lookout. With the pink hair?
Yeah, I think it's still pink at the time. It's just a different shade of pink.
Oh my God.
It's the Gabby Petito case.
Oh, which one? Didn't they do multiple episodes?
The first one. The second one, they really focused on her parents and
Yeah.
talking to her family and stuff. The first one was just like about her life. And so they wanted to talk to me about not just true crime, but also just influencer culture and stuff like that. And, because
Yeah.
that's what she was trying to do. She was trying
Yeah.
to be a big star. So that's what happened in 2023. And so I tried to transition into a new format and bring people on and interview them. It's a lot more difficult than people make it out to seem.
Yeah.
But then I had two major health crises back to back, boom,
Oh,
boom, and I just stopped. I stopped posting on TikTok. I stopped posting the podcast. I was done. And then this past Christmas, Spotify Wrapped comes out,
yeah.
and I get an email about when killers get caught. And I'm shocked. I'm like, nobody's listening to this a year and a half later.
Yeah.
But they were. People were still downloading and still listening and still supporting the show when I was gone. And I hope Brittany comes back. And
Oh, that's sweet.
that made me decide to restart it in 2026.
Yeah.
And I just needed to figure out a sustainable production model that I could execute on my own because I don't have my old editor. I don't have my old co-host. I have
Yeah.
not, it's just all me now. And yeah, so the
Yeah.
community is why I'm here today. I love when
Mm.
I get a video, like a little thing that pops up, a little notification. It's just like, you you're back on
Aw,
TikTok. And so like that makes me really happy. So
that is
I'm
so
here for the
sweet.
community.
Me too. I love that for you. That's amazing. But you know what? I mean, my numbers are ridiculous compared to yours, obviously. You're talking thousands. I'm lucky if I hit 50. But sometimes I notice that an episode from months ago, all of a sudden people would pick up and listen to it. And that's why I learned I'm not going to focus on the numbers. I don't care about the numbers. I'm doing it for me. Actually, when I started my podcast, I told my therapist about it. She almost jumped out of her chair and applauded me because she wanted me so badly to find a creative outlet. So she's like, yes.
That's great. No,
Yeah.
I'm with you though. I feel the same way. I'm like, I didn't do this to hit millions of people. I just did it to do it. I said, hey, there's podcasts everywhere, and this is a thing I know a lot about.
Yeah.
This is one of my special interests.
Well, I
So
honestly, I did. I watched the Alex Cooper documentary, how she makes millions off of her podcast, right? And I was like, oh, I can do that too. I can chat. I have opinions. That's how I got into it. Naive as I am, I thought, then the first episode aired and I was brought back to reality. And ever since, I have a different goal.
it's tough though. Like every kid wants to be like, Mr. Beast, but people don't recognize how much time people have to put in until they get
Yeah.
there. Mr. Beast started when he was 13 years old. And for the
Wow.
first 5 years, nobody cared about anything he was doing.
Yeah.
He did one stunt in 2017 that brought him like 100,000 followers. And then he took that and turned it into 29 million in 3
Wow.
years, which is
Yeah.
impressive. But like, no one's talking to you about that stage when he was 13,
Yeah.
posted Minecraft videos and
Yeah.
got 0 views on his videos. No one's talking to him about that. They're like, oh, wow, your Squid Game video got 500 million views. Because you can't make it to where he is.
Yeah.
if you can't make it through that period where you just have to keep chugging and eventually people start to notice.
Yeah.
So, like, that's
100%.
the stage that you're in right now. You're just chugging along, man. You're going to get
Yeah.
there,
Thank you. But
but
that's
you
why
got
I
to stick
posted.
with it.
I'm sorry, say again.
You have to stick with it.
Yes, exactly. But that's the frustrating part sometimes. That's why I posted it in that Facebook group where we met. I had two guests back to back. Each were supposed to talk to me about a reality TV show. So what I did is I watched the entire season again, took my notes. I sat there for hours and hours and hours. And then those bitches fall off the face of the earth. They never even have the courtesy of texting me that they're not interested anymore. And that's why I was so frustrated.
Now, are these people who were in the shows?
No, no, no. I wish.
Okay. Because I know those people expect to be paid.
Yeah, no, no,
And
no.
we're not in
No.
that kind of place yet.
Just random girls that I meet on TikTok and ask them, hey, you love that show. I love that show. Would you want to come on the podcast? And they're all excited and for it. Oh, yes, I'd love to. And then I guess they get cold feet. But at least tell me that you have cold feet before I invest 10 hours, you know?
And this is one of those things where I don't like to be one of those people who goes, oh, kids these days, people these days. But we do have a problem right now with avoidance,
Yes,
where people don't want to answer the door. They don't want to pick up a phone call if they don't know exactly who it is. And
100%.
so people, like, I'm sure they're like, I don't want to make her feel bad because I don't want to do it anymore. I just will disappear,
Yeah,
which is not great.
it does not help. No.
But yeah, people are really avoidant right now. It's pretty
Yeah,
rough. So
yeah,
that's probably what it was. For some reason, they couldn't do it or they missed something. Maybe they were late.
yeah.
And rather than send you a message and be embarrassed, they just decided to act like it never happened.
I know. Crazy. Anyway, let's turn it back onto you because I like talking about you. Now that
All
you're
right.
getting back into it and you are doing everything that I'm doing, do you have a tip for me?
Okay. So you do still do some like true crime stuff. So do you know? I'm trying to remember what it's called. Oh my goodness. Okay. So have you heard of something called newsjacking?
News jacket? No.
Right. Okay, so it's as soon as something starts trending, it could be a reality TV finale or a bizarre true crime headline. You jump in there on TikTok, on Reels, immediately give your perspective because there's going to be a lot of people all searching this news topic and you want to be in that list.
Oh, interesting.
So that's what they call that. There's also, once you start building up like a big body of work, there's a creator, a comedian I follow called Kev on Stage, and he does this. So say he had a comedian show from 5 years ago that discussed somebody, and that person is in the news right now,
Yeah.
he's gonna pull up that old footage and immediately cut it into pieces and feed it to all his different social medias. So, in that way, you don't even have to do any extra filming because you already have stuff. So, I save everything that I make for that purpose. Then,
Interesting.
I don't know if you do this because my last podcast was on Wanda Holloway, the mom who tried to have her kid's rival killed. And so I went and I spent a painstaking amount of time finding the wiretap audio from the man who she was trying to pay to be the or find the hitman for her so that I
Okay.
could put that in my foot in my like content because people really love feeling like they're part of things.
Mhm.
And so it stops them immediately. If they see like a clip from a CCTV footage or they see, they hear something that doesn't, it's not me. Who's that? That's another thing. I mean, I feel like you already have a good brand. So that's part
Thank
of it,
you.
like halfway through there. Everybody likes to be a little judgy so they
Yeah,
can watch and feel like they're not the only ones.
I love that. How do you feel about reporting versus investigating? I feel like a lot of TikTok creators, they are going down the investigative rabbit hole. Remember the Idaho murder case of the four college students? There were so many people on TikTok investigating and thinking they know it better than the police. And I believe to this day, there's people involved from this neighborhood, but not involved in the case. They Google their own names and it shows up as a suspect, although they have
Oh
nothing
my
to do with
goodness.
that. How do you feel about that?
I'm definitely more of a reporter. I'm
Yeah.
not law enforcement. I'm not a private investigator. I
Yeah.
just research. And for some reason, people like the way that I say things.
Love it.
So I want to say that I respect that there have been actual people who did successfully investigate on their own and discover something. And that's great for them. But I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm going to focus on what happened, where people messed up, and things of that nature. I think it's scary
Mhm.
because the internet mob
Yes.
can find you.
Mhm.
I remember before we even had a lot of internet, we still had like Facebook and Twitter. But do you remember? I think his name was Dorian, and he shot a lady at the news. I was watching the news when it happened, and then he tore off across the United States, and they were trying to find him because he did this horrible crime. But he was like a medium complexion black guy, bald.
Yeah.
And a bunch of bald black guys started wearing shirts that said, "I am not Dorian," I forget his last name, because there were so many people online who were like, "I found him. I saw a picture of him." And they were posting pictures of
That's
people. And so people
horrible.
were, yeah, they were wearing shirts that said, "I am not that guy. I have nothing to do with that guy."
I mean, it's kind of funny, but also the internet mob is just horrible, and that's racist also, right? Like,
It's scary.
yeah,
People don't realize. And also people are like, "Oh, I want to go viral, man." You don't know what it's like when there's like 500,000 comments.
yeah.
It makes me feel so overwhelmed. So I just turn them off.
Did you ever get a lot of negative comments? Did people ever come for you?
Only when I say words wrong.
Oh,
If I don't say the name of a city correctly, or I think one time I was trying to tell a case about something that happened in Mexico, and I was just hitting all the vowels wrong. And the entire comment section, nothing about the video, nothing about the sisters who I was talking about. It was just constantly, everything was correcting me. And I was like, I can't do this. And then it's crazy. It's like, so the podcast, you get that step away because I covered Elizabeth Bathory, woman who killed, or they think she killed younger women and bathed in their blood from Hungary.
ugh,
And
yeah.
I covered that one time. And I think I said every single name, city, castle wrong. And I have a Hungarian listener who was very kind and was like, "Next time you talk about anything from my country, send me an email. I will help you with the pronunciation," because it was so bad.
Oh, listen, I feel like that's me on a daily because English is not my first language, obviously. So I pronounce always everything wrong. And then I always ask Paige, how do you say this? Paige, what is the word? That's funny.
I think the only other negativity I've really ever gotten was, well, also platform specific because YouTubers are all mean.
Mm, interesting.
Almost everybody who's commented on anything on YouTube, I have to actually put up all of the barrier words and things on my YouTube. People come
Yeah.
in hot with the racism. And so I had to actually put in slurs in the block.
Oh my God, that's
And
horrible.
I'm just like, why are people like this?
No, for real.
But TikTok, it's been pretty cool. Always been a good vibe. Always, people have been great. Uh,
Did you ever
they,
have where you were reporting on a case and I guess it is controversial and people come at you at the comments for being an opposite opinion? Did that ever happen to you?
I mean, one of the things I did a lot when I first started was a lot of live streams.
Oh, wow.
And I
Okay.
would now, but my TikTok is broken. It won't let me. Oh, puppies. Uh,
If you wanted to come say hi.
I know. And now my brain's focused on dog.
Sorry.
But
Well, TikTok also has changed ever since the US took it over. And I feel like just last week the algorithm has changed because suddenly I only get like 40 views on some of my TikToks, which is crazy.
it's so up and down. And
Yeah.
it makes you not want to like really work too hard on it because
Yeah.
at least I know I have the same consistent small fan base on the podcast. And, I'm giving them what they want.
Yeah.
But you don't know where it's going to go or who's going to get to. I've had to shut down comment sections for racism on
Wow.
TikTok.
I'm so sorry. That's awful.
And
I hate that we live in a world like that, honestly. I'm so sick of people sometimes. I hate it.
they get mad at the killer or the bad guy, and then choose to be racist towards the bad guy's race. And I'm like, no, I need you to not do that.
Yeah,
We can't decide that all Asian people are bad because one Asian cop did something bad.
right.
We can't do
Paige and
that.
I Paige and I did an episode on the Lacey Peterson case, the pregnant woman,
Ooh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And in the episode, if you wanted to play a drinking game, you should have a shot every time I say we're comparing the Netflix documentary versus the Hulu documentary because they're made from two different angles, right? I keep
Mm-hmm.
saying this over and over and over again in the episode. People came at me in the comment section calling me out that the facts are all wrong and blah blah. And I'm like, people, I told you I'm talking about the Netflix documentary and the Hulu documentary. Like I did not research any court documents or anything. I don't have time for this shit. Like, shut up.
You were comparing their research.
Yeah. And I keep saying that, in the episode a million times. And people just don't listen correctly, or they just want to hear whatever they want to hear and find somebody they can let their thoughts out on or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, one time I remember somebody, I think it was Stupid Ways That Serial Killers Got Caught. That was one of my first like little series on TikTok. And that's like something I lean heavy into. But
Yeah.
there was this kid in my Jeffrey Dahmer video, and he was just like, "Well, I saw a documentary, and it told me that you're wrong." Blah 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 blah. And he just kept posting under my video.
Yeah.
And so finally, I clicked on his page, and I saw a video that he posted, and he sounded like he was probably no older than like 11 years old. And I was
Oh,
like, I cannot attack this child, so I'm just gonna block him
yeah.
because I was like, I can't just start yelling at a kid. I was like, now I look silly.
Yeah.
But some people do that, but I mean, it's not that bad.
I
But I
honestly,
guess
I just started ignoring those comments. I did not block anybody because, I need every listener I can get right now. But also, I feel like it's engagement. If you want to have a war in my comment section, be my guest. You know?
yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't want certain people listening to my stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, racism is a different topic. I would draw the line right there. I would block everybody who says bullshit, because I have zero tolerance for that.
But I mean, like, there's some people who are just down to be rude. Like,
Yeah,
I remember when I used to live stream and people would be like, a bunch of people would come in and they would talk about me like I wasn't there. And they would just be like, oh, yeah, that's a man. And they would have this entire conversation about how I must be trans. And then they were like, so what are you? And they're like, are you a man? I'm like, sure. Are you a girl? I'm like, sure.
yeah.
They're
None of
like,
your
why don't you
business.
give us an answer? And I'm like, because it doesn't matter.
Right, it doesn't. And
Listen,
it's none of your fucking business either. So fuck off.
either
Yeah,
you think I'm doing too much or you think I'm as awesome as the people who you think are doing too much.
yeah,
And both of these are great. These are good
yeah,
options for me, man. I'm like, I'm not bothered. I'm not offended. And usually when I say like, I'm not offended that you think I'm trans, they would just leave.
yeah. Paige got offended once because one of the comments on my TikTok was like pretty much saying, we don't know what we're talking about. And Paige breathes true crime on a
Yeah,
daily. She has a
I
degree
do.
in true crime and criminal justice, whatever. And she got really offended by it. And I'm like, Paige, please don't take it personally. Those are just internet trolls.
I do get offended by that kind of stuff. Like, because like those are the comments that come through on YouTube, and I just don't look at them at all. I can't.
Yeah.
But then, like, the people on Spotify are nice. They send me little messages through the app. They're like, "Oh, you're such a good storyteller," or things like
Uh,
that. So you
I
can
love
focus
that.
on the better.
Those people, if you hear yourself right now, come to the Judgy Bitch Pod.
Bring your kindness to
Yes,
my
bring
friend.
this. Was there ever a case that really got under your skin that you're still kind of like thinking about?
I can think of two off the top of my head.
Okay.
So more recently, for my 100th episode, I did Giselle Pellicott, and that was really hard for me to write because I couldn't stop thinking about the fact that almost every single person I know has been sexually assaulted in some way.
Oh,
Like, and like that was just in my head. That was like, and I was like, I'm writing this podcast for all of these people who have been harmed, but it's everybody. It's almost
that is
everybody.
really
And
yeah.
like I kept having to take breaks.
Yeah.
And, my boyfriend would walk in. I'd just be sitting there at my laptop crying.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Gertrude Benezeski. Do you remember her?
No, that doesn't ring a bell for me.
she's considered to be the ringleader responsible for killing a little girl named Sylvia Likens. And the whole
Um,
premise for this was that Sylvia and her sisters, like her mom got arrested, and then dad had to work. And so the dad figured out, he's like, hey, lady whose kid goes to school with my kid, what if I pay you $20 a week to watch my kids? Because this was, a long time ago.
yeah. Yeah.
And then the dad missed a payment. And suddenly this woman, Gertrude, started brutally abusing the oldest daughter. And she not just that.
Yeah.
She got her kids involved. She got her kids' friends involved. They branded her. They cut into her skin. They beat her. They raped her. Everything that could be like, and it makes no sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
She
And
had
it's
never even
sickening.
been arrested for a parking ticket before this. Why?
Yeah.
I can understand that there are people who have, nasty compulsions and they get off from dead bodies, or, people like Bundy or Dahmer. Like Dahmer was dang near cannibal. I some of those I don't want to say I understand them, but they fit somewhere in the
Right.
entire like world of true crime. Then you just have this lady who just decided in her 50s to become a murderer and
Yeah.
to make her kids be part of it and other children and manipulate a bunch of kids to also work.
Yeah.
Just the why of the Gertrude Benezeski case is
Yeah.
is something that, and I think I did a 3-hour podcast into this lady, and it's
Wow.
still like the why.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. And she didn't
Yeah.
hurt the sister. The
Yeah.
younger sister, she didn't hurt her.
Yeah.
She
Crazy.
picked this one little girl and ruined her life.
Yeah. Crazy. For me, it's honestly the Idaho case. There's something about this case that just gets so under my skin that it gives me nightmares. I forbid myself from reading any more articles about it because I will have
Really?
nightmares. Yeah. And I watch true crime documentaries for a living, not living, but you know what I mean, like 24/7, right? 2020 currently is playing 24/7 in my household. It doesn't do anything to me. I go to sleep perfectly. But the Idaho case, I don't know what it is about this case. It just got in my DNA. And I don't know if it's
The
because
recent one?
the four murder case
Oh,
of
yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah. The kids,
you know,
yeah. And the
yeah,
last year they got the guy.
they got the guy. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because it's probably one of my biggest fears of somebody breaking in and brutally stabbing you in your sleep, right? But also those kids, they felt safe because they weren't alone. I'm I'm alone. If somebody comes in here, I have no chance. But they were a house full of people and and I just can't get over it. And with this case particularly, there's so many internet trolls still going out there that keep commenting on every post I see. It wasn't him. It wasn't him. And I'm thinking,
Oh my
he's
God.
such a dumbass. They have his DNA. Like they have his confession. Like,
You just brought up something that like gets under my skin, which
yeah.
is there just has to be a group of people who have to play devil's advocate. And I'm of the belief that the devil doesn't need any more advocates. Okay. So I was talking about Celeste Rivas and the singer David.
Yeah.
You're like, he got set up. And I'm like, yeah, he got so set up that the chainsaw that was delivered to his house has the plastic from the pool that is in her wounds. And and there was her blood in his garage,
She was found in his car that he drove.
right in the trunk of his car, dismembered.
Yes.
And we know that he met her when she was 12 and he started sleeping with her when he was 14.
Yeah.
He knew she was 14. He
Yeah.
met her
I-
on Roblox.
Yeah. Yeah. Cases
He's
like
a
that annoy me.
monster. How dare you come in my comments and tell me this person isn't a monster? How dare you?
What do you do to protect your mental health?
Ooh. So this is a thing that people will probably be surprised about. At this stage in the game, I do not listen to any true crime content. That is the first thing. The
Okay.
first thing is I don't engage with it outside of what is now work.
Okay.
And the second thing is that I make sure to fill the rest of my life with as much as possible. I wish I could show you because I'm only halfway. You know what? Can you see?
Here.
There's a rainbow. So my office is split into 2 colors. One side is pink and one side is black.
Okay.
And
Love it.
so the pink side has glitter in it. It's Barbie pink. I have a rainbow curtain on this side. I just feel like I have to have this duality because there's just so much darkness. Like sometimes I am sitting typing and I have the Great British Baking Show in the background
I
because I'm
love
like,
it.
you know what? This makes me feel good. Old people cooking and crying. This is
Yeah.
great. I just have to. Or like I garden now. I didn't do that years ago. Definitely not when I started the podcast, but I garden now. I have tomatoes and asparagus and cucumbers
Oh,
and
wow.
peppers. Oh
That
yeah, I
sounds,
have a whole like garden in the backyard. That's something that I do because I just need to find something that is not about murder or looking at all kinds of pictures.
yeah, I hear you.
It's
The
probably pretty.
balance.
I mean, I don't know about other people's process, but I imagine. I mean, you also do some true crime too. Do you find that you feel like it weighs heavy
Yeah.
on you?
When I prepare for an episode and I dive deeper in the cases, I'm probably honestly not diving as deep as you are. As I'm saying, I just watching documentaries and then I Google a
Mhm.
little bit, right? But then I do need to balance that out with some Bravo reality, some bitches screaming, because otherwise I
Listen,
go down this rabbit hole and then it's not good for my mental health either.
well, like one of the things that I love is Love is Blind.
Yes.
We watch every single season.
Oh my God. Love is Blind is one of those where the, did the girl drop or yeah, I think the girl ghosted me, but I found a new one that I'm going to do an episode with, I think. But if not, I'll
Do
reach
you
out to
watch
you.
all the other seasons in different languages too?
No, I don't. I watched the German one, but then I got sick of the way they talk in Germany because it's a different sing sang here in America, and I've been here for 12 years. So I'm so used
Mhm.
to this sing sang, and I think I even use the sing sang when I speak German. But when I watch German TV, I'm like, ew, how are you talking? Because I'm not used to it anymore. Do you watch all the other countries?
No, I think I started watching like Brazil once.
Mm.
And here's the thing. Okay, so I like anime,
Are they
and
hotties in Brazil?
yes, they're all beautiful down in Brazil.
Yes.
But the thing that I don't like about the American one is that okay,
Yeah.
so apparently you get like a stipend, but it's not a lot. And so most people who aren't like independently wealthy or jobless can't really afford to give up 2 months to
Yeah.
be on the TV show, which is why in the US at least we constantly have all these rich jerks. We're not getting like regular people.
Yeah.
And I wish we could have those on the show. I
Yeah.
want to see regular like a teacher and a UPS driver fall in love.
Listen, that I think I bring that up almost every other episode. This is my biggest beef with reality TV right now is that it's not reality. It's all produced or they're self-produced for screen time. It's all fake, made up drama. It's all people just coming on for clout. Even The Bachelor and Bachelorette is not the same how it used to be because people come on for the wrong reasons, and that's a shame.
There used to be this show, I can't remember what network it was on, but it had the daughter from The Sopranos.
Mm,
She was like the lead, and she was a producer on a reality dating show like The Bachelor.
yeah,
And it showed, like, all of the, like, horrible manipulations that they do to make certain things happen, and so,
yeah,
like, how they, like, they'll make sure that this person who likes that person doesn't see them for, like, an entire day. So now they're feeling kinda insecure because that person coupled up with somebody else, and
yeah,
so then they have a producer everybody has their own production assistant or
yeah,
producer on them whispering in their ear, "Hey, why aren't you doing that? Like, did you hear that so and so went on a date with this person?" And so they're like constantly, so they're not just, and I realize why, because you remember the first season of The Real World?
mm,
It was boring.
yeah,
They were just a group of people living and working in New York, and it was not as
yeah,
exciting as
yeah.
Friends or so from the
You know,
second So
Okay.
from the second season on, they started messing with the contestants, giving them more challenges, specifically picking this like down south kid raised by racists and putting him with, a hood guy from Philadelphia who's a closeted gay. That's a real thing that happened on the Real World Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Karamo, who is a part of a Queer Eye, his
Yeah.
first show was MTV Real World Philadelphia. I remember when he punched that racist kid in the face and they almost kicked him off the show, which was crazy because that was the first time I feel like really many of us had seen a gay guy who looked like any guy. He was not, flamboyant. He wore like, little tank tops and shorts, like all the guys wore back then in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm happy they kept him on, but they definitely manufactured that fight by specifically putting that guy in there, knowing he was going to get drunk and start saying the N word.
Yeah. Did you watch the documentary about America? No, what is the Tyra Banks supermodel show?
I did not watch it myself, but I follow a couple different people who have podcasts like yours, and they talk through the entire show and they explain
Yeah.
everything. I think about that all the time, and I'm like, man, when we were in college, we used to do America's Next Top Model watch parties.
Yeah.
I was a dorm president, I know,
Oh,
dorky,
wow.
and I was responsible for making programming in the dorm, and we would do watch parties. We also did I Love New York. No, not I Love New York. What was it? Flavor Flav's dating show?
I don't know the
Yeah,
name.
I forget what it was called, but Flavor of Love. We did watch parties for the finale for his show, and literally our college was like, if you get people to sign this paper, that's all we care about.
I
They don't have
love
to
it.
stay for the whole show. They just wanted proof that the kids came out of their rooms and walked into the back lobby
Yeah.
with us.
I love that. I love that. Before we end the podcast, walk me through your process a little bit. What does your process look like? And what do you think is your biggest challenge, but also then most rewarding for you?
Okay. So we start with a little bit of curiosity, just my natural curiosity, and then some cross verification. So sometimes I start with a definitive plan, and other days I'm just looking through all of my bookmarks, research sites until a specific story or something kind of hits my eye. From that point, we're totally immersed for a couple days. And I learned pretty early on that you cannot rely on a single source when it comes to true crime. So I use an aggregate news app that you
Mm-hmm.
can type in something and it pulls media from all around the world. And then I have to cross reference all those cases to figure out that I have the story and I have to figure out what direction I want to go.
Interesting. Okay.
Because, what perfect example, like you can decide to talk about a case from the perspective of the killer, from the perspective of the victims. You can decide to talk about it from the perspective of the investigators who were hunting that person down. So I have to
Yeah.
decide how I want the editorial angle for the episode,
Yeah.
then write down the structural outline, and then fill in everything until it's complete. And then
Yeah.
I would say the biggest challenge is definitely fact from rumor. There are a lot of people there are a lot of people in the true crime space who take liberties, or they just say, well, legend says. And so now I have to sift through the legend says, where'd that legend come from? So, and like I said, if I am wrong, I will be told within
Yeah.
minutes of a video going up. Well, you said this at this moment, and that's not true. So I am fully aware that the community will call me out immediately. There's no room for mistakes. So that is my biggest challenge, hands
Yeah.
down. On the flip side, though, I think my biggest compliment that I ever hear from anybody is exactly what you said earlier. You go to sleep listening to true crime. When people tell me that they go to sleep listening to my show, I think it is one of the highest compliments. I listen to my own favorite creators to go to sleep when I want to feel safe and I want to unwind my brain. And so knowing that I am providing that same sense of comfort and security and companionship for people really is something special for me. Like they're
Oh,
listening to me and they're going to bed. And that's amazing.
oh, I love that. Where do you stand on ethics in true crime?
I think we have to be ethical first.
Yeah.
Ethics has to come before engagement. These are real people. They're not fictional characters. Their families aren't plot devices.
Yeah.
If your story is only good because somebody's absolute worst day they've ever had in life is exciting to you, I think that we as people have lost the plot there.
Yeah.
We should
Yeah.
not be excited about that.
Yeah.
So I think that you should always aim to inform first, entertain second. And I feel like this is a huge responsibility and you have to take it seriously.
I
I
agree.
want to honor truth and I want to respect the people who are left behind
Yeah.
and not. There have been plenty of times where I have decided not to talk about something, even though I know if I talked about it, it would bring me lots of views.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you if there was ever a case that you chose not to cover.
I can think about I can think about a very high profile case right now, and I'm not going to say the names.
Okay. Fair enough.
This
That's fine.
person went to prison. They got out of prison, and now there is a toxic amount of just noise around them, speculation, negativity. Every time they post, there's all these it's just negativity. You could capitalize on that drama absolutely for a quick payday. But
Yeah.
whenever I see this person's face trending, I'm just like, oh, thank God I didn't become a part of that. Because now, if you talked about this person, every time they do something awful in the press or they try and reframe their story and, create a new career for themselves, now people want you to talk about this new part of their life. I don't
Mhm.
want to talk about that.
Yeah. You're not giving
You
that
know,
any platform. I love that.
I think we got to be responsible. I don't know if you remember this. It was a couple years ago. There was a guy who went to jail for being a school shooter who hopped
Yeah.
on TikTok and was like, I was a school shooter. Want to hear my story? And at first, people were like, maybe. And then the whole platform was like, absolutely not. You don't deserve to have a TikTok. Leave.
Yeah. I agree. I
So
agree with
I don't
that.
remember his name, but I remember people were mad at him.
Yeah. Oh, those school shootings, they kill me. Those poor little
Just
kids.
you gotta
Yeah.
be aware of who you are giving a platform to.
Yeah. 100%. Do you always state your sources? Your source of.
I don't put it anywhere. I used to when I had a website, and I'm thinking about making a new website and then doing like a companion post and then putting the list there. But I maintain a source list for everything I've ever done. So all you have to do is ask me, and I will give you the entire list.
I love that. I love that. See, that's why Paige and I, we do it a little different. When we do true crime episodes, we usually watch this documentary and then we state it in the episode. We say this is based on this documentary we were watching on Netflix or Hulu or whatever. And then just talk about the documentary. We're not going into the deep, deep details of the case that you can read in the court documents or whatever.
Oh yeah, no, I wanna find things about the court documents. That's where I live.
I love that. No, I love that. Listen,
But
I
it's
love
okay though,
people like
because
you.
you're the average true crime viewer.
Yeah.
And there are people on TikTok who are like, do I watch too many true crime documentaries? And I'm like, absolutely not. I need you.
Yes.
Keep listening.
Yes. And I live for people like you. I consume you. I love that, right? But I'm the judgy bitch. I have a different angle. I'm not the court documentary journalist sitting there with a pencil and a pen and documenting on the court. I'm just giving my opinion on what I see on TV.
I also think the other aspect of it too is that every documentary is biased. So you're also discussing how they chose to frame. You're like, oh, they chose to make this scene moody when they talk to this, evil person. Like all that stuff contributes to the experience that you get when you're watching a show or
Yeah.
the one where you were comparing it to another one. So then are we talking to the same witnesses? What perspective is the director on Hulu and the director on Netflix? Like they're coming from different perspectives. That's an
Yeah.
interesting episode concept for me.
Yeah. Absolutely. Brittany, I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours. I have so much fun doing this, but my little furry babies are going wild here and they
I
get
know.
they get so many treats right now. They probably won't eat dinner later. But before I let you go, I would love to play two games with you. Do you still have 2 minutes?
Let's go.
Let's go. My games are always created by ChatGPT, who I
Okay.
lovingly call David because it's a man. You have to tell him what to do, obviously. So ChatGPT created game one and named it Caught or Not. So I'm going to
Okay.
state just a phrase and you decide for your own opinion. There's really no wrong answer. If you think for yourself it's caught or no, not your
So
thing.
something that I would talk about or something I don't want to talk about.
Yeah. Or if you,
Okay.
right, if you find it interesting or not interesting, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. So first one
Okay.
is serial killer caught after years.
Absolutely yes.
Yes, figured. Second one is unsolved missing person.
I'm interested on a personal level. I do not want to talk about it
Yeah,
for
that makes
work.
sense. Cold case solved decades later.
Yes.
Mm. Last one for this game, viral TikTok case with little info.
Not only am I not interested, I'm upset because now you have not given me enough information to go on and I'm mad at you.
Yeah.
You need to tell me details so
Yes,
that I can go search them and look up more details.
exactly. I agree. Game number two, hot
Okay.
takes, true crime edition, obviously. So same principle. I give you a sentence and you tell me if you agree or disagree, pretty much.
Okay.
So first one is true crime is sometimes too exploitative.
I agree. I
Yes, in a
think
word, right?
I think people absolutely overstep all the time, especially big corporations.
Oh yes. Oh my God. We could make an episode on corporation.
They want to blame it on the small creators like you or me, but it's those big companies who just decide we're going to talk about this no matter what because it's popular and they don't care whether they hurt anybody in the process.
Yeah, I know. Horrible. Next one is TikTok is changing true crime for the better.
I don't agree. I think that there's good that's come out of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, my career is based off of the fact that I started a TikTok, but I think there's entirely too many people who just repeat stuff and don't do any research. And then
Yeah,
those people repeat, other people watch that and they repeat it. And then you're just dealing with a lot of misinformation.
it is very true. That's very true. Next one is we don't need more serial killer content.
I kind of agree.
Oh,
There are other things you can talk about. There are people who are robbing banks all the time. There
yeah,
are people who are breaking into houses. There are people who are committing all kinds of crimes. True crime is an expansive world. We can talk about more than just serial killers. Like one of my episodes this year is about a lady, they call her Brownie Mary, because during the AIDS epidemic, she flagrantly defied federal and California law and continued to give patients who were dying weed brownies. So
yeah.
I think she's a hero, but
It
technically,
is.
she did violate lots and lots of laws hundreds and hundreds of times.
She was just ahead of her time.
Absolutely. I mean, I think she's awesome.
Yes,
But there's other things we can talk about. We don't have to only talk about serial killers. We can talk about other stuff.
exactly. My last episode with Paige was about Kendrick Johnson, and I need to call all this case out because I need everybody to go watch the Amazon Prime documentary and bring some awareness to this case because this family still hasn't gotten closure. So, Kendrick Johnson, go and look it up. Listen to my last episode. Kendrick Johnson is one of
I
those
think
that
I
I
actually
need to start on.
commented on that episode on YouTube.
You did?
I think I did.
Oh,
That it's
heartbreaking.
that one always, yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah. I don't know how to get the sideway back to our game now, but I'm just going to give you the next statement. It
Okay,
is
let's do it.
creators should contact victims' families.
I absolutely disagree. I think we should wait for them to contact us.
Yeah.
I talked about this a little bit on the Natalie Holloway episode.
Yeah.
Natalie Holloway's mother, Beth, was contacted nonstop by people who said they knew what happened to her daughter in Aruba, people who
Yeah.
were just trying to capitalize off of it and make money. Her
Mm,
family said they were inundated with people constantly trying to talk to them about the fact that their daughter was missing and probably dead. And So I don't think we should contribute to that. I think
Yeah.
we should wait. There have been people who have come to me and said specifically, can you tell the story of what happened to my child?
Mm,
And so I will cover that case for you. If something happened to you and you want me to tell that story, I absolutely will do it for you. But I don't think we should reach out to people.
yeah. See, Paige and I did the Kendrick Johnson case, and we know the family is still fighting hard and they're fighting for awareness. So we
Mhm.
were like, okay, read the room. In this case, it is okay. So we tagged her in one of our TikTok posts just to say, here, look, Jackie is the mom. We made an episode on it. We want to bring awareness. We want to fight alongside you guys. Do whatever you want with that information. We just wanted to let you know, we're not arresting them. We're not telling her what to do or not to do, or that we know what happened or whatever. We just wanted to let her know we did an case on it, and we did an episode on it, and just to help them bring some awareness to the case.
It's a double-edged sword. So
It is.
in that situation, you can be beneficial. But I think if your intention when you contact a family is just to get some details
No,
or a reaction,
no,
you're
that's
an
like a
awful human
tabloid.
being.
That's like a
Right.
tabloid, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to go down that way. No, I'm not. I'm a judgy bitch, but I'm not a tabloid. Yeah. All
I
right,
agree with
last
you.
one for this game before I let you go. Some
Mhm.
cases should be left alone.
I agree. There, I think if the person the case is about is trying to monetize, like, some of the people on TikTok right now who are like, I did this bad thing. Like that guy I was talking about, the school
Yeah,
shooter guy.
yeah,
I think we should not cover that case.
I agree with you.
I think if this person is trying to get more attention,
Yeah, don't give it.
don't give it to them.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. All right, wrapping this episode up before the dogs go wild here. Tell my bitch besties what's next on your podcast and where they can find it and where they can follow you.
So, a while back, I was in talks to do a TV show, but it fell through because of the writer strikes. But that told me two things because I want to do longer form content. I want to make my own show, like a big show, but I am not going to fit into the box that
Okay.
Hollywood would want me to fit in. So the only way it's going to happen is if I do it myself. I'm plus size. I got pink hair. I'll tell you off camera, but there is a pretty big network that saw my treatment for my show and were like, we would do it if it wasn't her as the host.
Bitch, get out.
They want old guys in suits and they want, polished lady reporters. And that's okay. Because I'm looking at people online like Markiplier and Kane Parsons, and they are making their own stuff. Oh, what a cute puppy.
Peanut.
They are making their own stuff and it's being accepted worldwide. So that's my future. I think self-funded, independent, and doing things on my own terms. And where you can find me? Caught Podcast, which is what you've been calling me all day. That's
Yeah,
my account on TikTok because When Killers Get Caught is too long of a name.
I
You
didn't
can
know that.
find
Good.
the podcast When Killers Get Caught on every major podcast platform, even some in other countries because I submitted my podcast to everything.
I love
And
that.
also, you could just search my name, which is Brittany Ransom, which is a cool true crime name that I was born with.
You have a cool name. I will admit, I was thinking, is that fake or is it true?
That is my real birth given name.
I love that. One last question for you. What is
Okay.
one thing you want listeners to remember?
I think I want your listeners and mine to remember that human decency and justice are always worth fighting for, especially where we are right now in the world, where things feel real dark and real bad right now. It is easy to become cynical when you do what we do and see evil everywhere. But I think
Yeah.
the real lesson in When Killers Get Caught is in the title. The bad guys do get caught. Justice might be messy and it might be slow, but it does happen. And it happens because there are good people, investigators, neighbors, communities who refuse to stop looking, people who refuse to stop trying to find justice for others. People speak up. People like you choose not to ignore the warning signs. We are so much stronger together than the darkness. And I think together these communities will work towards finding the light.
Wow, I love that. That was very profound. Brittany, I thank you so much for coming on. My going out message is not quite as profound. Bitch Besties, please go ahead and follow Brittany at the Caught podcast and listen to her podcast, When Killers Get Caught. Please also follow the Judgy Bitch Pod everywhere you social media and everywhere you get podcasts. And please, 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 if you like this episode, share it with all your friends and families. And I see you next Tuesday. Thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Thanks, Bitch Besties, for listening. Make sure to follow us at the Judgy Bitch Pod. And hey, spread the word. Tell your friends, your ex, your dog walker. We'd love the support. Want to be part of the show? DM us your feedback, hot takes, or unapologetic opinions. We just might read them on air. And don't forget to follow, rate, and review the pod. See you next week. Cheers, bitches.